Hey everybody, Taylor Lyles with the Greenville Home Builders Association, and this is the Think Big podcast. Good morning and welcome to the Think Big podcast. I am your host, Taylor Lyles, the Chief Executive Officer of the Home Builders Association. Super excited to have a newer member and a vested community partner in Greenville, Michael Fernandez with Alpha Equity Group and Blue Sky Builders. Michael, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Taylor.
Yeah.
Excited to be here.
So, Michael, what is Alpha Equity Group?
Oh boy. Alpha Equity Group started about 5 years ago here in town. I had just moved back from Denver, was living, working for an investment fund out there. And I moved back to Greenville to actually, kind of partner up with a family project here, and was a big move and decision on my end to make of, I had a great job working out there, enjoyed what I was doing, was learning a ton about the markets, and was in a transitionary point of leaving a bigger company, coming home, working for more like a boutique family firm. And, long story short, some things with that, deal just didn't hash out the way I thought it would. So I was kind of at a fork in the road of, I just left a great job, was super young, making good money, learning a ton, and was really more on the investment side at this time. And just decided, I've been in real estate my whole life. I can either make a pivot of, sticking with this and starting my own thing, or going back to the markets of where I was, and just decided to start a company here. We started on the residential side. We were buying up a ton of single family homes, double wides at the time, was doing a lot of brokerage to kind of build some income, and met with a mentor, and he said, I don't want you to buy any deal until you've got a year's worth of savings saved up. So I said, well, in my mind, I'm going to sell, which I knew to do. So I got with a lot of investors, brokered my way, saved up 2 years worth of expenses, and I said, I'm ready to go do this thing. And we started with single family houses, and this is back in Greenville. You could buy stuff in Nickeltown for, 30, 40 grand a house. Yeah. Those houses now are, the lots are maybe going for 350, 400,000. And
that doesn't exist anymore.
Million plus homes. So looking back, we probably should have kept a lot more of those homes and been sitting on a gold mine. But, we've just really transitioned over the years from the single family side of buying, selling houses, buying, renovating houses, to I did transition that into a one lot deal. I bought an acre lot, cut it up into 4 quarter-acre parcels, sold it to a builder, and that was really like the proof of concept. Okay, I've loved the development side my whole life, wanted to get into it, and that was that turning point of getting more on the land development side. So after that, I took that into, we did a 42-lot subdivision down in Piedmont, and was in way over my head, didn't know what I was doing, just you figure these things out as you go. Bought that, put it under contract, took it through the whole entitlement process. My engineer at the time told me it would take 3 to 6 months. That was very naive. Yep. It took us 18 months to get that project approved. Woof. And put the horizontal infrastructure in, sold that one to Ryan Homes. And that kind of really was a pivotal moment for me and Alpha of, where we wanted to go and what we wanted to do, which now is a lot of residential land development. We have some commercial, assets that we have, but we market Alpha Equity Group as more, protecting investor capital as our first point, and how we do that is through residential land development.
That's stellar. So Alpha is strictly, I shouldn't say strictly because you said commercial, but your focus is developing those lots for production builders, custom builders. Like, who's your target audience at Alpha?
It's a mix. So I'd say backing up, like first and foremost, it's the investment firm, where we've seen the market go and what we know. Like, we're operators first on the development side. We tend to stick to what we know, which is the residential land development. So we've done a mix of selling to the national tract builders. We've sold a lot to, some of the regional and local builders that might not take sites, that the national and tract builders might not take because there's no sewer, or it's, maybe there's no water, and there's very few builders that want to do some well and septic. So it just really depends on like the geography of where we are, and kind of just the opportunity cost of does this site pencil out for a track build, and then, where we take it from there. So we're flexible as far as what we go after, but it is all residential land on the land side.
Okay. And geographically, Alpha's focus is the upstate?
We're in the upstate. We own some assets in Rock Hill, some parts of Asheville, like Western North Carolina that we do, but mainly in the upstate and somewhat of the Asheville area.
Watching this market and these feeder markets really thrive right now. You see Asheville. I mean, you've got DRB, you got DR Horton, you've got your production builders starting to migrate up there and seeing incredible success. So having those assets in that market, hopefully they didn't get too much damage from Helene.
Yeah, we actually got lucky. We had an office building in Asheville in a pretty prominent area, and it was right around where those roads collapsed. And we were maybe it was fortunate or unfortunate from an insurance thing, but thank God the building was okay.
Yeah.
And then another development site we had was unscathed. So we got very lucky.
That is very lucky.
And it was stressful because all the phone service up there went out. So I'm calling my partner, there's no answer. We don't know what's going on.
Yeah. You don't have a helicopter on site?
I did the helicopter tour afterwards. But
oh, did you?
this was not during the chaos.
That's probably a good thing, especially with all the FEMA drama and all that stuff going on.
I heard about some local developers that tried to get a helicopter to go look for actually opportunity, which is crazy. But all the helicopters, thank God, were reserved for helping and bringing supplies in.
Yeah. We had a builder start. He has a personal helicopter, and he just started taking donations. And
that's awesome.
He was a former Black Hawk pilot, so he was like, "All right, we're going rogue. I'm not going for any permissions. I'm not asking anything." And he just started running food and supplies and everything up there. And we tried to get the association, but again, we were all in that same position where, I live in Five Forks. We had no cell service. I had to drive up to Woodruff Road through the landmine of trees down, and we just, once I found out my mom was okay, I was like, all right, we got to go back. We got to clean this road up. So we're pulling trees off of roads. That was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So Alpha, Target, residential developments, any projected growth zones, like any areas that y'all are starting to look at?
Yeah, the track builders and national builders, I will say, have a great forecast of where growth is. These are smart companies, and they have brilliant people working for them. They have a lot of analytics of where the growth is.
Yep.
They've got a lot of insider information. So the more, we build relationships with those key people, they're hinting at, hey, these are the, zip codes and areas that we want to be in, which, a lot of these people don't want to develop properties themselves. It's very rare that you've got, a turnkey in-house builder that will take on the development risk.
Yep.
So we get a lot of intel from the national builders of where and what areas they want to be in. And then, we're doing our due diligence and have a lot of broker relationships. And I try to, value the broker relationship and go through the broker and say, these are the areas I want you to start looking in, bring in opportunities, and we look from there.
Let's get real for a second. Are you dumping money into marketing but barely seeing any results? Go Digital can help. Using their marketing matrix, they zero in on your target audience and engage them where it matters the most. Go Digital acts as your full-service marketing team, saving you the hassle and cost of building an entire in-house team or trusting random gurus you found on the internet. It is also important to note that they don't just serve home service businesses. They own one. They've been in your shoes. They know what works because they've lived it. Wondering why I know so much about them? It's because I've been a client for them over a year, and I couldn't be happier with the results. So if you're ready to start winning more leads for less, hit the link in the show notes and schedule a free 20-minute consultation today. A lot starting to go to Cherokee County.
It is.
Yeah. I was looking at some of the available lots and projected lot data. So we use a product called Zonda, and it gives you lot forecasting. And year over year, Cherokee County's up like 640-something% in projected. You'll have 32 paper lots ready to roll by the middle of Q1 next year.
Wow.
3,200 lots. And we talked about this. I think I talked about it with Chris Harrison. The Yellow Mall is about to have a purpose again. The Yellow Mall was barren to destitute, and it was going away. And now, just because you can't find land in Greenville, land's starting to get bought up in Spartanburg, and they're following that corridor right. And more of that drive to you qualify concept.
Yep.
Because you can still get land for $10,000-15,000 an acre
yep.
in Cherokee County. So you're seeing these smaller markets really thrive.
It is. I mean, I was on the phone with someone this morning down in Pelzer. Pelzer 10 years ago, you know, no one thought about even wanting to move out there. And the first thing he said is, well, you know, these comps that I've just sold within the last 3 months around me, my price is now $10,000 higher an acre. You know, that's hard to make a development deal work.
Yep.
Especially out there when you don't have sewer, sometimes you don't have water. It really kills a development deal. So if you're willing to take on the risk and go to those outskirts, and you know, maybe I don't want to be the first person, but I don't mind being 2 and 3. You know, then it could be worth your while because of that price per acre.
Yeah, I always laugh. Pelzer started hitting the kind of front of everybody's minds probably about 12 to 14 months ago, and I looked at somebody. I was born and raised here, grew up in Five Forks. And I looked at somebody, I said, do you know that there's a Pelzer and there's also a West Pelzer? And he looked at me and he said, what is Pelzer? I said, an area you need to look at.
Yeah. Pelzer's a great city. We did a development we're currently in a development off of Garrison Road.
Okay.
This was a 71-acre tract that I bought, and we actually cut it up into mini farms and estate lots and did a subdivision out there. And I said, you know, I had a layout for 70 lots. All right out of acre lots, and then I had one for like 55. That was kind of a cluster. And just talking to some of the neighbors and the relationship I built with the seller, it was an old dairy farm. He had, you know, raised cattle there for years, gorgeous pasture property. Really didn't want to see the density and kind of wanted to leave it legacy. We decided to go mini farm out there, and so we cut it into 12 5 to 7 acre parcels that we're building through now. And the mayor of City of Pelzer actually came out to an event we did in the fall, and he was phenomenal. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Came out, spoke, and just, you know, very pro development, and he's, you know, trying to make it work for developers in that area.
Yeah.
And that's what it takes. It takes the local municipality wanting you to come in and make it advantageous for a developer to come in and help grow the town.
Yep. So are you seeing that mini farm product starting to take off? Kind of like we're starting to see it. But we'll see how it goes long term. Right now, I think it's easy with the municipality and county because of some of the exemptions with the plat requirements. Yep.
So it is a lot quicker of a process. Long term growth, you know, with how much growth we have coming to Greenville, I don't know if it's going to solve the need for housing on the density side. But we love it, and you know, that's kind of what we formed Blue Sky Builders to do. Was more of that's really all we focus on is the mini farm / estate lots.
Yeah.
We're not doing any. Shouldn't say cookie cutter subdivisions, but we're not doing any of the traditional like tract townhomes or single family subdivisions. We're doing minimum acre lots. Typical, those are 5 to 7 right now of what we've had good success with.
Okay. That's a great segue. So let's touch on, so we've talked about Alpha Equity Group, Blue Sky Builders. Let's talk about them.
Yeah, we started that a little less than a year ago and didn't really know how this would go and of the concept of these mini farms because it is a newer concept. But we did it to add another tool in the tool bag of, hey, we're looking at a site. Maybe there's not water there. Maybe there's not sewer yet, or the sewer's 1,000 feet away, and the cost to bring sewer to this site to make it work for a tract builder kills the project because of what we said earlier. These costs per acre on these sites that are 20, 30 minutes to downtown Greenville have gone sky high.
Yep.
How can we get creative and still make this development deal work? It's a gorgeous piece of property. We want to continue developing and not lose opportunity. So we took a stab at it on the first project in Travelers Rest. It was a 42-acre site. I cut it into 8 5-acre lots. And just being newer concept for us, we sold 3 lots to a local builder and kind of watched and sat, was patient to see how they did. And when I saw that they put a contract like that on the first 2 homes, I said, yeah, let's get going and gear up to build here. And so we started with 2 specs on that site in Travelers Rest. And before we were in the dry, just from marketing, we had a ton of agents calling, and they said, hey, we love the concept of being 30 minutes to town, but still having a very great product. Like at Blue Sky, we're only building 3,000 to 4,000 square feet.
Okay.
So we're doing a larger home, but we're doing nicer finishes on the inside. So we wanted to put a product that looked completely different from a tract home, but wasn't a full custom. And so we're kind of in that $1 million to $1.5 million price range where we're picking up a lot more buyers, especially coming from out of town. So we're not priced out of, $2 million to $3 million where it's full custom, and we're not putting up a $750,000 to $800,000 product. But strategically, I was trying to stick in that conventional loan to where, hey, most people buying $1 million home have 150, 200 grand, or they've sold a property with equity.
Yep.
So I was thinking of it from a financial standpoint, and people have loved the concept so much. Our price actually kind of went out of where I thought we would be, because we had penciled our numbers that, if we made money at $900,000, we did good. We sold the first one for $1,150,000, and then the second one for $1,175,000. And I said, I think we're onto something. Agents are loving this feedback. They have space, they have privacy, they're getting a nice finished product, and they're still 20 to 30 minutes from town.
Yeah.
And then the people that are coming from out of state that we've sold a lot of homes to, they can't believe what their money is buying them compared to, the quarter acre lot that they are in on a 3-2 brick ranch, 1,500 square foot house.
Yep.
They're ecstatic of, we have 5 acres. Like, this is insane to us.
Yeah.
It's hard for them to comprehend.
Until they realize how much maintenance that 5 acres
and
takes.
I'll tell you, the one in Pelzer at 71 acres, I tried to go bi-weekly maintenance out there with the landscaping company. We're a weekly.
Yeah.
Especially this time of the year with the rain. It is a lot to keep up with.
Yep. Yeah, I think everybody... So I grew up on 750 acres, so I know what it takes.
You need a full staff to run that.
Cattle, we had cornfields, we had soybeans. I know what my grandfather did to maintain all of that.
It's hard work.
So I always laugh, and everybody's like, "Oh, I'm going to get 50 acres," and I'm like, "You should, you should." And
Taylor will come buy it for a discount in a couple years.
And when you get annoyed at it, I will buy it for a quarter of the price.
Yeah, that's right.
Just the maintenance side of it, but completely understand. I think you hit the nail on the head. Is with the out of state, they are coming in. They're selling that 3-2 brick ranch in California, and they're selling it for $2.5 million.
Oh, that's crazy.
In specific areas. Yep. And then they're able to buy, let's say 3,500 square feet, we'll split the difference, for $1.25 million.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. And
we're building a house for a couple out of New York now. They're in a 1,700 square foot house. We're building them 3,800 square feet on 5 acres, and they are the walk that they did on the frame check, they're like, holy cow, we cannot believe how much space we just got. And they sold their house for $1 million cash.
Builders, trades, realtors. If you're looking for a flooring partner you can trust, look no further. I'm here to tell you about All About Flooring. All About Flooring is a family-owned business with 3 generations of owners that know the flooring business inside and out. They work in residential and commercial projects for both new builds and remodels by providing high-quality customer service and installation for carpet, area rugs, hardwoods, laminate, luxury vinyl, and more. Y'all, they even provide professional carpet, tile, and upholstery cleaning. At All About Flooring, they're more than just a flooring provider. They're your partner in delivering top-tier results that your customers will absolutely love. You can find their website linked in the show notes, or visit their 9,000 square foot showroom at 2111 North Pleasantburg Drive. Now, let's get back to the show. Yeah. Now, are majority of your deals that you're seeing from out of state cash deals?
A lot are cash. The last 3 we've done are cash from out of state, and that was Florida, New York, and I think the other one was somewhere in Arizona.
Yeah.
It was Phoenix.
I think that's such a positive because you've got these opportunities from people moving in. The downfall is pricing out the people that live here.
Yep.
That's one of the hardest struggles, and I've challenged council. There has to be a happy median.
There it is.
And you've got to have both. You have to have that mini farm product with $1 million house, but you still have to have your production tract builders.
Absolutely.
With a single family detached with a quarter acre lot or a little less for $300,000.
Yeah. Which is why I said long term, we'll see how it goes for the actual beneficial interest of Greenville and its growth.
Yep.
Because when you have the BMW plant in Woodruff coming and all the jobs that it'll bring, and all these battery plants in Lawrence County, those people are going to have something that's affordable.
Yeah.
And what's affordable now when rates are where they are?
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, we as an association kind of shifted that conversation because affordable housing has just become a hot word. And to me, you can't put a number on an affordable housing project because affordable to you is not affordable to another person,
Sure.
or affordable to that person is not affordable to us. So we've shifted the mindset to attainable housing. Attainable for one is not attainable for all.
Sure.
So what is attainable? And it's a word change, but it creates the concept because I may be able to afford this house, or you may be able to afford this house, but the person teaching our kids or working that service job may need a house at $180,000. Mm-hmm. Now, mind you, very little amount of builders in our market can actually build a $180,000 house.
You got to look at the cost per foot.
Yeah.
That might be your cost.
Yeah.
And when you factor in your lot, it's very tough to make it pencil.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, delivered lots in production neighborhoods are 60 to 80,000 on a good day.
Yep.
So you're already starting there. Then you got fees, regulatory fees that are pushing 30 to 40 now.
Yep, that's right.
And so when you're starting at 110, well, that's a $320,000 house.
Yep. And South Carolina is interesting. So 3 years ago, I want to say right before rates hit that jump, when rates were still, 4s and 5s, we had looked at doing a build for rent community. We had a private equity group out of Nashville. They were on board to bring the equity for the deal. We were arguing back and forth on 5-year hold versus 7-year hold. They wanted it done in 5. I didn't feel comfortable taking the risk on unless it was 7, just because we don't know where rates are going to be. We don't know where the market's going to be. But the number one thing that killed that deal from a financial standpoint was the millage rate and the tax rate that you're getting. So going back to the affordability, a lot of it's based on income. These rents can be cheaper than what a mortgage is at 6-7%. It does make sense to have some build for rent communities that are going to service these people that can maybe afford that $1,500 to $2,000 a month versus buying that $350,000, $400,000 house where, I don't know what the median price range is in Greenville. You'd probably have a better idea than me. But that payment's, $500-$600 more. You can't afford it.
Yeah, you can't swing it.
But the millage rate killed the deal because from the investor and development standpoint, especially Spartanburg County, the millage rate was so high, your income on that whole total project was wiped away.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. That you've got this concept, and council struggles with it in every municipality on the build to rent, and you've had several municipalities say we're just not doing it because they've seen what some of the previous, let's say, circa 2008 before the crash, when there was some build to rent product going up.
Yep.
Excuse me. It wasn't being maintained. It was cars in the front yard. It was the houses were falling apart. It was that typical mindset of a build to rent community.
Yeah, and I think as time has gone, the last 10, 20 years, like this industry, especially on the single family, has become a lot more sophisticated. Institutional groups or family offices, they had nothing to do with residential years ago. Now, all the capital had flooded through that, and you saw pre-COVID, there was residential funds spinning up out of almost every day.
Yeah.
Berkshire Hathaway took a big stake in a couple local funds that were buying, brand new homes, renting them out, taking their stab at it. But the maintenance and the sophistication of property management has really shifted. So I think it's got a bad stigma of, hey, this might turn into what looks like a raggedy old mobile home park to, these are actually very clean communities if it's run correct with the right development group.
And they're people that, at that price point, they're people that truly want to keep it up.
Oh, yeah.
They want to have a presentable house.
Sure.
They want to maintain the yard. It may not be meticulously maintained, but it's still cut.
Yeah, and you have families that don't want to be in an apartment complex, but they would gladly take we were talking about DRB, a DRB townhome. They have a phenomenal product.
Yep.
That's going to be a great spot for a family. They've got a garage. They feel like they've got their own place to upkeep. They're taking care of their stuff.
Yeah. So Blue Sky kind of came off of Alpha Equity Group. seen success with that, building a high quality semi-custom home, or are we saying...
Let's emphasize the semi. We'll slide custom in, like low caps.
I love it. Semi is all caps.
Kind of faded.
Dash, low, kind of transparent, custom.
Yeah. When my team hears this, they'll die laughing because they're like, hey, you always say no custom. But then when someone gets in front of me and they're like ready to go and sign a contract, they said, you just did a custom agreement.
Yeah.
I said, no, I didn't. I let them choose a couple things and, we're there. But kind of how the process works, at AEG, we're developing the lots. So we'll kind of see from the start, if a parcel comes in, let's get with the engineer group. Let's do a survey. Let's get a plat. Is this going to work for a tract development, or are we going more of the Blue Sky Builders estate mini farm lot? From there, we know that it's an estate lot. I start engaging the architect and designer. We've already fully underwritten the deal at this point. We know that it pencils out. We know our cost per lot. We know roughly what these lot values are going to be. There's margin there for the development company. Blue Sky steps in. We kind of do a marketing campaign, launching the community, coming up with all that material. And then we engage the architect and designer to say, this is the style, this is the feel we're going for this community. Let's look at our model plans that we have with him, make some revisions here. Here's the material selections we want to do on the exterior. And I won't pretend to know anything from the interior side. We let the experts do that.
Yeah.
So Nomi will come in and put together her full selection sheet, and we'll start, one spec on that community. So we get something out of the ground, we see activity. And then from there, usually, you've got some nosy neighbors, you've got other agents that see it, and they're making calls in and saying, hey, my client really likes lot 3 at this community. Okay, well, here's the plan we were planning on putting on lot 3.
Yep.
Here's what fits. The architect has looked at all the topo. He's looked at even where the sunlight is, things that we don't think about.
Yeah.
Here's the windows that we decided to, place in this house for lighting and other purposes. So it's very detailed on the front end. From there, when they have interest in that lot and that plan, we either make a couple elevation changes that they're happy with, and then there's a few minor floor plan changes on, maybe they want to take, a good example is adding a butler's pantry in. Okay, it's pretty easy, like boxing out a wall, putting a full kitchen in the back. Things like that, we'll still let the customer and client kind of have some say in, and that goes on a call with the architect and designer. Once we get that plan signed off on and they're happy with that plan, it goes to Nomi, who's the designer, to kind of do a full mood board, understand what this client's looking for. We present the spec sheet based off of the finishes and what we're doing in the products. And where I say semi is we have a custom cabinet person. So we're doing the custom cabinets. We're doing the waterfall islands. We're doing things that are a little bit nicer, tiling all the showers. There's no carpet in the houses. Nice custom closet layouts. That's where we're getting the custom part of it.
Yep.
But they'll sign off on that spec sheet, and then we're building on our lot. So they're just putting a deposit down. We still own the lot. Blue Sky's building on the lot. We're financing it, and then at the end, CO, they're closing.
Okay. Very cool.
Yep.
So client realtor wants to get in touch with Blue Sky. What's the best way?
Gabby Howard, who's on our team.
Okay.
So Gabby's kind of our internal sales agent. She's heading that up for Blue Sky.
Okay. Website is Blue Sky.
Build Blue Sky?
Build Blue Sky?
I don't even know.
Yeah.
Build Blue Sky Greenville or buildbluesky.com, one of the two.
Google Blue Sky Builders. I love it.
Yeah, we should pop up. If not, I'll have a conversation with the marketing girl.
Yeah. You have those connections.
Yeah.
So
I've really tried to remove myself out of Blue Sky as much as possible. I'm very involved on the front end. My responsibilities is more delivering pad-ready lots for them. From there, Zach, our head of construction, is taking the build from foundation to CO.
Very cool.
So I've built a good team around it to free my time to really go focus on raising capital, and I call it dirt and dollars. I'm looking for dirt and dollars all day.
Yeah.
You guys, if we have major issues, I need to get involved. But we've built a phenomenal team that's, experienced and been doing this for a while. So
yeah,
it's helped free me up.
So great segue. Everybody needs capital, and I think you have Catalyst.
Yeah, we formed Catalyst Strategic Credit Fund is the name of it. So prior to, Catalyst, we were kind of like every other smaller boutique firm. Is we'd find a project, we'd put a package together, underwriting, put our business plan together, and we were raising, a lot from friends and family for that specific deal. So it was a due diligence nightmare to, there's a lot of moving parts in closing a development. There's a lot of moving parts in closing something existing, from a due diligence standpoint, from title, from inspections, from everything that we've got to go do. So we were putting a site under contract, engaging engineers, going through that whole due diligence process, and then simultaneously raising capital for that once we had our package done. And what we found was, we talked to a couple attorneys. We worked with Nelson Mullins in town.
Okay.
And we said, we want a vehicle that is easier to kind of go out and talk about the capital, just freely and generally without getting slapped on the wrist from, the SEC and guys you don't want to hear from.
Yeah.
Any of those three, letter agencies
three-letter
I want to stay away
acronym.
from. So I want to make sure I'm, know the rules and play by the rules. And we formed Catalyst to just make a vehicle where we can go out and talk to more people and solicit for capital. So it's been a good scaling vehicle for us to go out, talk to more than friends and family freely, because we really haven't marketed for capital. It's been a lot of me and my partner's money, and just a handful of guys that want real estate exposure but don't necessarily have the experience or time to do it. And so it's this actual same structure of what we would do. We put investors in a first position mortgage. They have a promissory note and a mortgage. That's anywhere from 50 to 60% LTV. So we're very low leverage. Safety first is, extremely important to us.
Yep.
And got a lot of that from my partner of just, it's more important to have a return on your capital, or of your capital than on your capital. So we're safety first, then yield.
Yeah.
A lot of people might, put you in a pref piece or a common equity position where you're might be the last to earn and the first to lose. We're trying to be the person that's, first to earn, last to lose. So the investor would go in, if you make round numbers, $1 million property, investor would put anywhere from $500,000 to $600,000 on that property, secured by a first mortgage and a promissory note. And that could be anywhere from 8 to 12%, paid monthly or quarterly, depending on where the investor, wants to be. Some people want the monthly payments because that's replacing a lot of their income.
Yep.
Some people, admit for quarterly. Some people say, I don't want any money. I've got great, day job and income and family's taken care of. We want to let this accrue and grow long term. So we're long term mindset. Like, I believe in the Carolinas, I believe in the Southeast, I believe in residential side. We're trying to build a network full of people that is more relational than it is like transactional. So we're very close to the investors. This freed them up from less paperwork. They feel very confident where the money's going. They feel safe with us as the operators. They feel safe in the housing, and the product speaks for itself of the safety at a first position lien, right? So the market would have to dip back 40 to 50% before the investors hurt. Some people in development deals or syndications, you could be up to 90% in the capital stack. That's a risky position
That's
to be
a very
in.
risky
And so
position.
I didn't want to build a product that was, risky like that. And I'd say Catalyst is just a pool of that. So I had to go down from like a deal where Catalyst is just diversified. So instead of being secured by that one property, you're secured by all the properties in the fund, but it's the same mechanism as just being on a $500,000 mortgage on an appraised property of $1 million.
Okay. So entry point, so you got investors out there. Do y'all have a minimum entry point for Catalyst?
It's a 506 C product, so it's accredited investors only.
Okay.
Net worth of $1 million, excluding their primary residence, and we have a minimum of $100,000.
Okay.
So minimum $100,000 investment, 12-month period, and that could go from 8 to 12%.
Okay. So if you're listening to this podcast right now and you fit those qualifications, reach out to Michael.
Yeah. Long-term mindset.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. Well, Michael, as we wrap it up, is there anything else you want the listeners to know? Realtors, other trades, anybody?
Yeah, I mean, dirt and dollars. That's what we're tagline. I want to work with brokers, grow a relationship. I'm a broker in charge myself, but I respect the relationship of the brokers, and they work hard and they need to make money. So we're looking always to network with as many brokers and see land opportunities as we can. And from the investor side, if they've got idle capital, or a lot of the people we've worked with have sold a business, they have a big gain, they don't know where to place their capital. Those are the people we want to be talking to.
Fantastic. Well, Michael, I greatly appreciate your time today.
Yes,
I can't
sir.
thank you enough.
It's a
I'm
pleasure.
super excited about Alpha Equity Group, Blue Sky Builders, and the Catalyst Fund. If you want to learn more, Alpha Equity Group and Blue Sky Builders will be linked in the caption below. But we look forward to seeing you at the next podcast. Got a next one in store for you. Thanks.
Thanks, man. Enjoyed it.
Thanks for listening to the Think Big podcast. If you can do me two big favors, if you can subscribe to the podcast to continue getting updates whenever new podcasts drop. And also, if you can scroll to the bottom of the page and just give this podcast a review. We want to continue pushing it out to more people, sharing what we're talking about, and educating more people in the building industry. I would also like to say a huge thank you to two of our sponsors, All About Flooring and Go Digital. If you're interested in sponsoring the Think Big podcast for 2025, be sure to reach out to the HBA of Greenville today. Thanks.